Tune in to Talking Law with Attorney Daryl O'Neill and the special guest host, Attorney Jerome Payne. Live TV talk on your digital device, on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. Download the SVP TV app right now. Check us out every Tuesday on Comcast Cable, Channel 17, 8:30 p.m. And we are live every Friday on Facebook Live, 6 o'clock in the evening. You've got a question, our attorneys have the answer. So let's talk law with Attorney Daryl O'Neill on the SVP TV network.
Good evening and welcome to Talking Law with Daryl O'Neill. Of course, I'm not Daryl O'Neill, but we have his lovely daughter here once again, Misty O'Neill. And it's always an exciting time when Misty shows up. So welcome, Misty.
Thank you, Attorney Payne. I appreciate it.
All right, so we're going to first of all give our shout-outs to West Memphis, Little Rock, Mississippi, Shelby County, Memphis, Tennessee, and always the great state of Missouri.
Hey, Grandma.
And don't forget, you can also follow the show with Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, Comcast, and don't forget that you can download the svptvnetwork.com. Yes. It can be on your phone or on your mobile device, and you can always follow us. Tonight we have once again been able to connect with the public live while we're on the air. So we're very excited about tonight. We're going to have a domestic relations, criminal, civil, and we're going to do the gamut on tonight. And I am so excited about that because the law is ever changing.
Absolutely.
And we want to make sure that you are equipped with information. And you know, the Bible says that my people perish for the lack of knowledge.
Yep.
But that's not going to be the case after tonight.
No.
We're going to educate you on tonight. You want to go ahead and take this call tonight, Misty?
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Hello, caller. You're on the air with Talking Law with Daryl O'Neill.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yes, I call. I have a quick question. I was at my business and an ex-female friend of mine popped up in my business with some of my items. Called the police and she brought the items back. During that, she got very verbal and then it got physical. And I defend myself and left and called the police again. Now, since that has happened, what do I need to do? Because I think now I'm certain I have a domestic violence warrant against me. So what steps should I take to get this resolved ASAP?
Wow. Misty.
Right.
Wow.
We would get a call like that
Wow.
from the very beginning. Okay, so the answer has multiple layers to it.
Yeah.
Multiple layers to it. Mm-hmm. First of all, sir, we're going to answer the call. I'm sorry, you can't hear us, so I muted you by mistake. Can you hear us now?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I can hear you now.
All right. So, Misty, you want to take a stab at it?
So, first of all, regarding the warrant, there's no way really around that. Like, you're going to have to take care of that one way or another. And that's kind of detached from the separate situation you were describing. The first thing you're going to have to do is deal with that warrant. Unfortunately, I think that you should hire a lawyer, first of all, and then you'll have to work out a plan with your lawyer as to how you'll turn yourself in.
Okay, and I also want to remind you that when we're talking, we're not talking about your matter specifically.
Right.
We're talking about generally.
Right.
Now,
That's what I would do.
what has happened, it's really common that someone will start an issue and then elevate it to another level. And that's what sounds like has happened here.
Absolutely.
But the fact that you had called the police initially indicates that you knew there was a problem and you've already reached out for some assistance.
Absolutely.
Secondly, anybody can make a charge against anyone at any time.
Right.
But whether it will stick or not, and it appears to me, just based on what you've told me, you have the classic he said, she said.
Absolutely.
And without any corroborating evidence.
Absolutely.
So, but the first thing, as Misty said, and I agree, is to hire your own counsel. Do not go into a situation unprepared.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Did you get that?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'll be searching, or probably end up calling you guys that get your guys information to just take care of themselves. Like I say, it actually was my fault. It was done out of spite. First came and stole my belongings, my keys, and my weapon and everything. After I called the police, we ended up bringing it back. And she stayed with more clowning and acting up, if you will.
It's
While
not.
I was in my vehicle trying to leave, actually.
It sounds like you're in a pretty good position, and you did the right thing by reaching out to law enforcement early on, so you have made the first contact.
And it's a paper trail.
Yes,
now. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's paper trail.
I actually called twice. I called first to report what was going on because I was actually out of my office. She came in my office while I wasn't even in there, while two of my friends, was actually my coworkers, in there. I was actually in the best room, actually. She took my stuff, took my stuff, went through my vehicle, took clothes and my backpack, my gun and everything, and left. Then I called the police. Then she brought my stuff back. After the altercation, I called again to try to get some help. So they never did show. So,
But that's okay, because you got the trail, because they record all of the calls that come through.
Absolutely.
And you have a witness. And Misty, in these situations or something similar to that, I always tell people to sit down, find some time, and write out, memorialize what you have encountered, so you won't forget some of the issues and the facts, okay?
Absolutely. And you can request, or anybody in this sort of situation, if there was not a police report taken, this is subject to open records request, public records.
I agree.
So you can, now if this happened in the city, you would go through Central Records.
it went now, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, if it's no police report that's taken, all police incidents, like when there is a call to 911 or a call to the non-emergency number, it's called an event chronology.
Yeah.
And an event chronology is public record. So you would have to request that through what the law calls a FOIA request, or an open records request. And so you can, actually the city of Memphis has an online portal in which you can request that information. But if it is dealing with, say for instance, the Memphis Police Department, you'd have to go through Central Records to get that event chronology. And it's a small cost that's associated with it. I would recommend go pick it up in person.
Absolutely.
Because they're gonna hit you with the hammer if you try to get it emailed to you.
Absolutely.
But that is always recorded, and they have to keep those within a certain time frame, because every citizen in Tennessee is allowed to be able to request public records. So that's, if you didn't get a police report, there was no police report taken because they didn't come, that's where I would start in a situation like that.
Oh, I agree.
So where's the business? Do I just go to like the 911 place or the sheriff county office? I mean the sheriff's office, or would I go obtain those records?
You can go to Central Records, or you can call them online. I would Google wherever you are. I would Google Central Records, wherever the Central Records is. If it's in Memphis, you Google the City of Memphis Central Records, and there's a number. Call that number, and then you can go up there. It's at the Donnelly J. Hill Public Safety Building downtown. It's right across from City Hall, and I think it's on the 10th floor.
I think that's
it's the 10th
exactly
floor.
right, the 10th floor.
And you're gonna need your ID, and you go up there and you tell them the date and time that it happened and what it is you're requesting. You'll fill out a paper and they'll copy your ID. And I think it's going to be, I think it's like 15 cents per page or something like that. So you'll be able to request that and however many pages you pay for it, and then you'll have it. And that'll be a paper trail, it's documentation.
Okay.
All right?
I really appreciate the information.
Okay, man. Thanks for your call.
Thank you.
All right, have a good one.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Okay. You know what, Misty? It's just, it's really great that this call came through.
Yeah.
When we think about domestic violence, entrapment, all of these things are happening in our city on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
And we need to take them serious.
Absolutely.
I heard the lady who works with domestic violence, female, said, if he says that he'll kill you, believe it.
Believe it.
So this gives us an opportunity to talk about that. Crimes against women are on the rise, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a female
That's right.
who is being abused.
Absolutely.
And so everybody is on alert now for it. You can even, there are certain ways that you can contact someone to tell them that you're in trouble. I heard about the girl who was at KFC with a guy who had kidnapped her or something, and she wrote a note or something. Or and they go to the bathroom and write something on the bathroom window. But take it serious. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. I mean, I always, especially if at night, I share my location with my brother.
Oh, good.
So he knows where I'm at, and he'll. I don't know how he's gonna get there, but he's gonna get there.
But that's very good. Misty, again, you hit it on the head. Always let someone know
Where you are.
where you are, where you're going,
And who you with.
and who you're with, and how long you expect it to take for you to get there.
Absolutely.
And then also turn around and call and let the party know that you have arrived safely.
Absolutely.
Now, we talk about it sometime, your dad and I, about being pulled over by a police officer. You don't necessarily have to pull over in a place where you don't feel safe.
No.
Now, I think that the better thing to do is to contact the police department to tell them that that you are being pulled over by a police officer, but I'm in a place that I don't feel safe. Maybe you can contact the officers and let them know that I'm going to go to this 7-Eleven or...
Some gas station.
Do they even have 7-Elevens anymore?
Not here. I've seen them in California and Virginia. And
I'm telling my age. 7-Eleven.
I used to love 7-Eleven.
Yeah, we have something else, the Marks or something.
Right.
But you don't necessarily have to pull over in a place where you don't feel safe.
Right.
The next thing is that everybody and anybody is carrying weapons now.
Absolutely.
They can carry them open carry or can be concealed.
Absolutely.
Which is ludicrous in my mind. But
I don't
be
understand it.
careful too about that, Misty.
Absolutely.
And we're still having all of these shootings on the expressway. So if you don't have to, do not cut someone off when you're driving.
Or going off on people.
Don't flip the bird at someone.
You might get shot.
So, I mean, just basic courtesy. If you happen to cut someone off and didn't mean to do it, apologize. I'm sorry. Okay, so we got another question on tonight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there is a question about whether if someone was romantically involved with someone and the partner broke their hand and they're a musician, would they have a lawsuit against them?
Okay, so it's a domestic situation, first of all.
Maybe.
All right? Maybe. Okay.
It sounds like it.
But the person makes their living by
their hands.
using their hands. absolutely positively
I agree.
there is a claim.
I agree.
Okay?
Okay.
Because anytime anything interferes with your ability to earn a living, it is compensable, in my opinion. Mr.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, but a lot of times, I'm laughing because a lot of times when you file a lawsuit, anybody can sue anybody at any time.
At any time.
But if it's not going to be able to recover, I mean, why spend the time doing it?
So it's interesting because there's two different elements to, like, take for instance our caller or a situation like our caller.
Okay.
So with the previous DV warrant, say you have a DV warrant, so you can't, number one, you can't file a retaliatory charge.
That's exactly right.
So if one person, it's basically if you're not first, you're last.
Right.
If whoever files first, you know, is the one the police are gonna roll with.
That's right.
But they have a standard. In fact, they don't even have the standard. With a domestic violence case, the state is the plaintiff.
That's right.
And so the state has the burden to prove beyond a reasonable doubt.
That's right.
That a domestic situation occurred where one of the partners was injured or one of the partners was harmed. So, and that's different from like if somebody want to issue a restraining order or something like that. So, for instance, if this person filed these charges against me and the state is coming after me, I'm gonna lawyer up, turn myself in, and me and my lawyer are gonna work out a plan. First of all, that's not how this happened.
Right.
Or maybe that's not how this happened. You know, we got to get our side of the story
That's exactly
out.
right.
Because the state has its own side of the story from the victim. And sometimes with the victim, in domestic violence situations, when the rubber hits the road, they don't show up to court.
That's right.
And they are subpoenaed and they don't show up to court. And, you know, it's because, oh, you know, we've solved everything. You know, that is so common in domestic violence cases. But in this instance, these are two different sectors of law
Yes.
that kind of happened, you know, at one time.
That's
and that's
right.
very interesting. But, I mean, if I did bring a lawsuit, I would think about it under a tort. But you got to have damages.
Well, the damages are the fact that I'm no longer able to work.
How much money did you lose from being able to work?
That's very good too,
Yeah.
because I mean, so what you would have to demonstrate, and it's not speculative.
Actual.
It has to be actual damages, but it's very easy to document by using a lawyer, because I can look at, say for instance, you know, and I just thought about it, since we are in a gospel type situation on this television program.
Praise the Lord.
There are a lot of musicians who come in and out. So if you are hired to do Wednesday night Bible study, or Wednesday night service, or Friday night service.
Choir rehearsal.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Sunday service.
That's right. And evening service, well, you can calculate how much you would have made on those days.
Absolutely.
So now you're unable to do it, and most of the time, the person would have to hire somebody to come in and play for them since they're out. And all those are ways to demonstrate how much money you've lost by this incident.
And that hand being broken, you know, with it tying in with the domestic violence, you know, that's proof of who's the actual aggressor.
No question.
So if I have medical records that show that an incident occurred where someone who I was romantically involved with broke my hand in the middle of a dispute, I didn't put my hands on them, but they put their hands on me. That means I'm not the aggressor.
And you know what, Misty, also you just brought up? That would consist of a hospital visit.
Absolutely.
That will consist of medical records.
Possibly a
where
surgery,
where
a
you
cast.
told the doctor, without being prompted or primed, immediately, because we believe that when you are seeking medical attention, you're going to tell the truth.
You're going to be completely honest with the doctor, because the doctor can't help you. Now listen, the doctor cannot help you if you're not honest.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And you know what, Misty, and I'm glad we continue to talk, because now we can move on to a regular tort case, an automobile accident. And what's so beautiful about the law is that similarly situated occurrences basically have the same outcome. So by the same token, if you are involved in an automobile accident, someone hits you from behind,
Hit you from the side.
from this side, T-bones you.
T-bones you.
All right, so the same thing would happen. You would then seek medical attention. The doctor, nurses notes, ER notes, all of those, what kind of medicine was prescribed. And if he prescribed medicine, please go and get it.
Please take the medicine.
The doctor prescribes medicine, but you come back and say, well, I never did get it. So that unravels probably your whole case. Wouldn't you think so, Misty?
I think it would not help you. I don't think it would help. Now, if the doctor, say you had broken pelvis from an accident or something like that, and you had big screws in your pelvis or something like that, and you don't take the medication because you don't want to get hooked on, opioids. I don't know if that would necessarily tank your case.
Right.
It's not going to help,
Right.
but it's not going to tank it.
That's very good.
It's just, as lawyers say, it depends.
Right.
It just depends. But I think that as long as you're not being prescribed something that's going to have you out here, you take
the
it.
thing about it is that, and of course, it's usually PRN medicine. So that means, what that means is that you take it when you need it. And Misty, you brought up a very good point then too. People are afraid of being hooked on opioids. So if I can bear the pain, I take all of the.
Or I might take something that's not as strong as this.
That's exactly right.
But it kind of numbs out the pain enough to where I'm able to continue to function.
That's exactly right.
Like a Tylenol or something like that, or Advil or Aleve.
Or it says 3 times a day, and I only take it 2 times a day.
Right.
But please go and get the medicine. Please follow the doctor's orders.
And the doctor will wean you off of it. They are required under their oath to do no harm.
Absolutely.
They will wean you off of that medication.
And the next thing is, I'm going to the ER. I've been prescribed medication. They've patched me up. The next thing is, does the doctor take me off from work or not?
Right.
You're not able to just stay off on your own.
Right.
There has to be a doctor's order saying, and most of them will do that. Take the next 72 hours to recover, and then see your primary
Care physician.
doctor.
Exactly.
So, because all this is very important, because the defense side is looking for every way to undermine. You're messed up. You're hurt.
And your insurance company, is also looking for a way to slide out of there.
You mean to tell me my insurance company is looking for? No.
Oh, they're your neighbor. They're your
not
friend.
my good hands, people.
Oh, the good hands and boom, ba dum dum and dancing around the cute little animals. Oh,
Look,
yes, they are looking for a way out.
And you only pay for what you need.
They are not trying to pay you. Like they are trying to figure out if you are really injured or not.
That's right.
And if you have discrepancies in your treatment, like for instance, one of the popular things I say to my personal injury clients, and I have to say it more to the men than I do to the women. Oh, I'm fine. I was hit, but I'm fine. You don't know how you feel.
That's right.
And this is, that's something that my father, I used to always hear him say, and I would be like, man, that's kind of harsh. And I'm like, no, you're under adrenaline. You have no idea how you feel. You might wake up the next morning and your back is just frozen in time.
Remember, guys are macho. That's not the time to be macho. That's the time to follow the doctor's orders. Again, and you may feel okay immediately after, but I can almost certainly guarantee you that by morning, a few hours later, the pain is going to
That pain's
increase.
going to increase. And I tell people, I'm like, well, I'm worried about the ambulance bill. Hop in the ambulance.
Yes.
Go get an ambulance. Like, you are creating damages.
That's right.
You are creating something to be paid back for.
That's
and
right.
you need this treatment. You have no, like, when you get a medical report that's released from the ER, at the top, it's going to say MVA. You were in a motor vehicle accident,
That's right.
a motor vehicle collision. You were hit, say you were riding around in a 5-ton car.
That's right.
You got hit by a 7-ton car. You got hit by 7,000 pounds while you were in 5,000 pounds.
Right.
Like, that's a hit, you know? And so you don't, it's not, like you said, it's not gonna be sometimes it's a right now, like, oh, I'm
That's right.
paralyzed. Oh no, I can't do anything. I need to go on the ambulance. And sometimes it's a, well, I'm okay.
Right.
Like, you know, I mean, I feel a little whatever, but, and then a couple hours later, you're like, oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
That seatbelt burned into my pelvis.
And Misty, now we're moving into another area, and that's good because even though we are saying it, we've emphasized it, we've said it over and over again about how it's necessary that you go to get treatment after the accident. Suppose I still don't go, but it's delayed somewhat. I still think that there's an opportunity for the reasons that we just spoke of, that and sometimes I think that's good that you didn't immediately go, but you call yourself doing, you're going to self-care. You were treating yourself with over-the-counter medication. You were trying to use the regular Tylenol or ibuprofen, but the pain increased such that you had to seek out medical services.
And some people, you know,
would
they
that be
just-
okay, you think?
I think it could be okay in some situations. Like, for instance, you know, you were going to work and somebody hit you. You're like, listen, I got rent is due.
Right.
Like, mortgage is due. Like, my light bill is
Absolutely.
due. I got to go to work.
Absolutely.
You know?
And I'm on probation.
Oh, yeah.
I just got this
I
job.
just got this
Man, I've
job.
been looking for a job for months, and I finally got one, and I'm on probation, and I've been warned that I can be fired for any reason
Under that period.
during that period. And so I was trying my best to make it, but when I got to work, I just felt awful. And so here I am, Miss Attorney. What happens now?
I think, you know, say for instance, thinking a little bit down the line, when you think about juries, right?
Yeah.
So juries don't like a victim. Like, they don't like, oh, you know, woe is me. No, I was out here, I was getting to the money, I was trying to do this, I was trying to do that, I was minding my business, I got hit by this car. Listen, I popped 2 Advil and went to work. And I wasn't feeling hot, you know, after I got off work, so then I went to the ER. So people just, you know, people can relate to that.
That's exactly
You know,
right.
like, okay, well, all right, well, you know, I understand that because, you know, rent is due.
Right.
You know, or, you know, my mortgage is due. I gotta, you know, I couldn't afford to take off work like that neither.
And I just got my dream job.
I just got my dream house.
So.
I gotta pay the bank, you know.
Right.
It's real.
And so
People
sometimes
respect that.
they are forgiving in situations like that. Okay, so now that you didn't go immediately, and that's okay, let's start to think about the other possible parts of your body that were involved in the accident. Because if you're not careful and you forget or fail to mention that you also had pain in other areas that were not necessarily documented during the initial report. Can I come back later on and say, you know, I didn't realize it at the time, but my head did hit the steering wheel, or my body was thrown in such a way as it came in contact with the door or the armrest or something. So you can later go back and add this stuff if you do it timely.
If you do it timely,
Right.
and you know, say for instance, like you say, you hit your head on the steering wheel.
Right.
I mean, it's a possibility you blacked out, and you didn't even know you blacked out.
That's good.
I mean, it's very common.
That's good.
You know, or the airbag's deployed.
That's right.
And the airbag knocked you back. And you do have some pictures of burns on your face, but you didn't, you know, you was out for maybe 3-5 minutes, and then you kind of came to, or maybe you was out 30 seconds to a minute. Like, you were like, oh no, you know.
What's the reasonable amount of time to report it if you go back later?
That's interesting.
It is interesting.
So I would think within 3 days, within the 72-hour period that they tell you to seek medical treatment from your primary doctor.
Right.
You should say that. You know, at the time, I didn't really think much about it, but as I tried to rest at night, it became increasingly painful, and my knee hit the dash or something. So I think within the 72-hour period, that's probably
I
really
agree.
good.
I agree with that. Yeah, I wouldn't wait more than 3 or 4 days, because, you know, your insurance company is gonna be like, they're making this up.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So, Misty, tonight has been a free-flowing type of night. We talked about domestic violence. We talked about make sure you protect yourself when you are in these relationships. If the person acts like a fool, get away from that fool.
Get out! Get out! Get out!
And I'm serious because because if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Absolutely.
And if a person is too aggressive, they won't allow you any breathing room. It ain't that much love in the world.
It's always signs. It starts out small and then it builds. It's always, you know, the common sign is possession.
I want to see your
Control.
phone. Give me.
I want to see you.
Let me see your
Where you
password.
at? You haven't turned your location on. Where are you at? It's like,
I've texted you 15 times and you not responded.
you know, where you been?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, what? That's not normal behavior.
It's time to cut loose from that.
Absolutely. Block.
It's best to, because the sign is there.
It's there. It's there. Absolutely.
Misty, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me.
All right. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
We're gonna make you fall in love. SVPGD.